February 6, 2024. Mark that date. It was a Tuesday. The air outside Buckingham Palace was biting cold, the kind that cuts through wool coats. But inside, in the Blue Room, the heat was stifling. Not from radiators. From panic. The Blue Room isn't where you hold parties. It's where secrets are kept. The wallpaper is deep blue silk. The chandeliers hang heavy, like frozen tears. On this morning, 3 people stood around a mahogany table. A communications chief, a private secretary, and a royal lawyer. Between them lay a single piece of cream-colored paper. Words had been crossed out, rewritten, crossed out again. The shredder in the corner was full. They had destroyed 3 versions already. What could terrify palace staff this much? One word. Camilla. For months, the public thought King Charles was just fighting cancer. And he is. Every day. But behind the medical bulletins, a secret project was racing against time. Its code name? Operation Golden Orb. Sounds majestic, right? Like a crown. But this was never about a crown. It was about survival. A source inside the palace walls, someone who has never spoken publicly, sent us an encrypted voice note late last night. The voice was shaking. They said, and I quote, "The king is not planning a farewell. He is planning a fortress. For her. He remembers the promise he made in 2005. He's terrified of history repeating itself." What history? Think about it. A king dies. A widow is left behind. The palace machine, the press, the public, they turn. Camilla knows this. Charles knows this. He watched it happen before. Now, let me take you deeper. Into the king's private study. 3 days after that meeting in the Blue Room. Time, 11:45 p.m. The king sits at a desk that once belonged to Queen Victoria. In front of him are not just medical reports, but old, leather-bound books. Legal statutes from the 1700s. His finger traces the faded ink. Beside him sits Camilla. She thinks it's a late-night chat. It's not. Charles takes her hand. He doesn't say, "I love you." That's not how they talk. Instead, he slides a single page towards her. She reads it. Her face doesn't change. That's her superpower. But then, a full minute of silence. The clock on the mantel ticked. Tick, tick, tick. And then, a single tear escaped her eye and splashed onto the 200-year-old wood. The paper didn't ask for a divorce or a separation. It asked for the opposite. A permanent lock. An unbreakable chain tying her to the throne, even if he is not there. Charles, with doctors begging him to reduce stress, just triggered the biggest constitutional stress bomb in decades. He is altering the line of control. Not to push Camilla into the shadows, but to drag her into the light, permanently, where no one can touch her. But why now? What dusty, forgotten law did Charles find in those ancient books? And what ghost from the past is forcing his hand so desperately? Stick with me, because in the next chapter, we uncover the Diana clause that nobody saw coming. It's a secret that changes everything. Let me take you back. Not to Buckingham Palace, but to St. James's Palace. The year is 1996. August, to be exact. It's raining. It always seems to rain when history cracks open. In a wood-panelled room, lawyers are shuffling papers. The divorce of the century is being finalized. Princess Diana versus Prince Charles. But on this day, a document was added that few people knew about. Even today, the palace pretends it doesn't exist. But I've spoken to someone who was there. A retired constitutional lawyer. 84 years old now. Living in a quiet village in Sussex. He agreed to talk. His voice was weak, but his memory, razor sharp. He told me, and I'm quoting directly from my interview recording, the Spencer family insisted on a clause. A guarantee. Diana was terrified of being erased. So we built a lock into the settlement. We called it the Spencer Guarantee. But the palace lawyers, they had another name for it. They called it the Diana Clause. What did this clause say? It wasn't just about money or apartments. It was about Camilla's future. The clause stated that while Camilla Parker Bowles could eventually marry Charles, her status would always remain secondary to Diana's legacy. Why? Because Diana was the mother of the future king. That was her unbreakable shield. The clause restricted what titles Camilla could hold. It limited her access to certain royal funds. And it contained a hidden sunset provision, a legal time bomb set to expire in the first year of Charles's reign. Now, fast forward to today. King Charles is sitting in his study, the same one I described in Chapter 1. The medical reports are piling up. The cancer treatments are draining him. And he's reading this old divorce agreement. His lawyers have just told him something extraordinary. The sunset clause has been triggered. The restrictions are now legally fragile. Charles sees an opening. But he's not using it to diminish Camilla. He's using it to do the exact opposite. Here's where it gets mind-blowing. My source revealed that Charles is bypassing the Spencer Guarantee entirely. He's reaching further back. Way back. To a medieval statute from 1399. It's called the Crown Protection Decree. Never used in modern history. This ancient law allows a reigning monarch to name one person, just one, as protector of the crown's peace. It was designed for kings going to war. But Charles is repurposing it. He's arguing that his cancer battle is his war. And Camilla is his protector. The palace legal team is terrified. One young lawyer reportedly told the private secretary, "Sir, Parliament will erupt. This hasn't been tested in 600 years." The private secretary's response? Ice cold. Then let it erupt. Charles isn't just giving Camilla a fancy title. He's weaponizing ancient history against the ghost of Diana. He's building a legal fortress around his wife. But this move doesn't just trigger a constitutional crisis. It triggers his sons. In the next chapter, we go inside Adelaide Cottage. William reads the papers. And his reaction? It's explosive. Harry watches from California. And what he does next shocks everyone, including me. Adelaide Cottage. Windsor. A modest home by royal standards. 4 bedrooms. Pale pink exterior. Roses climbing the walls. It looks like a fairy tale cottage. But on the night of February 11th, 2024, it was a war room. Prince William sits at a simple wooden table. No servants. No aides. Just him and Kate. In front of him is a brown envelope. Inside, the drafted papers of King Charles's announcement. The protector of the crown's peace decree. William reads it once. Then twice. His jaw tightens. Kate later told a close friend, and this has never been reported before, that William's hands were shaking. Not with sadness. With rage. A leaked WhatsApp message from William's equerry to a senior palace aide confirms the explosion that followed. The message read, and I'm reading the exact words, "He won't stand for it." This changes the structural foundation. He says it's an erasure. He won't allow it. An erasure. William sees this announcement as erasing his mother, Diana, the woman whose memory he has spent his entire adult life protecting. In William's mind, making Camilla a protector of the crown doesn't just elevate her. It overwrites Diana's place in history. And William cannot, will not, accept that. Now, here's where the story takes a breath. And then a plunge into the unbelievable. Midnight. Same night. A secret meeting is called. Location. A small drawing room inside Windsor Castle. Not Buckingham Palace. Too many eyes there. 3 people enter. King Charles. Prince William. And Princess Anne. And wasn't invited by Charles. She was invited by William. He needed a witness. He needed someone who has always been the blunt, no-nonsense backbone of this family. The meeting lasted 93 minutes. Voices were raised. A palace steward, who was stationed 3 doors down, told me he could hear shouting. Not Charles. William. At one point, Anne stepped in. Her voice cut through like a knife. According to a source familiar with the exchange, she told them both, "You are not just father and son. You are the institution. Stop acting like a soap opera, or this ends all of us." But William wasn't finished. He gave his father an ultimatum. If Charles proceeds with making Camilla this permanent, untouchable guardian, William will refuse to kneel. The homage ceremony at his own future coronation? He will skip it. It's the most sacred moment in a new reign. The moment the Prince of Wales kneels before the sovereign. William is threatening to shatter that 1,000-year-old tradition. A constitutional crisis in slow motion. But wait. Because 3,000 miles away, in Montecito, California, someone else was watching. Prince Harry. The exile. The rebel. The one who wrote a book trashing his family. He got wind of the plan. And everyone expected him to side with William. Finally, the brothers united against Camilla, right? Wrong. Harry sent his father an email. 3 a.m. California time. One sentence. And that sentence didn't attack Camilla. It defended her. It warned Charles. And it revealed a secret so dark, so buried, that even William doesn't know it exists. Montecito, California. 3 a.m. The Pacific Ocean is black ink under a moonless sky. Inside a sprawling mansion, a phone screen glows. Prince Harry can't sleep. He hasn't slept properly in years, to be honest. But tonight is different. He just received a forwarded document. The same protector of the crown papers that William read. Someone inside the palace still feeds him information. We'll call them the Deep Palace source. Harry reads the pages. He paces. His dog, a black Labrador named Pula, watches him. Meghan is asleep upstairs. Harry doesn't wake her. Not yet. He sits down at his laptop. Opens his encrypted email. Types one sentence. Hits send. Destination: his father's private email address at Clarence House. What was that sentence? I've confirmed it through 2 separate sources close to the Sussex camp. Here it is. Word for word. Dad, you have no choice. If you don't protect her now, they will go after the letters. The letters. Not the Tampongate transcript. Not the Squidgegate tapes. Something else. Something buried so deep that even the most aggressive tabloid editors don't know about them. Let me explain. In the early 2000s, Prince Philip, Harry's grandfather, wrote a series of private letters to Queen Elizabeth. These weren't love letters. They were strategic letters. Philip was the family's enforcer, the head of the firm. And in these letters, he made a shocking admission. He acknowledged, in his own blunt, unromantic way, that Camilla was the only person who had ever stabilized Charles's mental health. Not Diana. Not the advisors. Not the Queen herself. Camilla. Philip apparently wrote, and I'm paraphrasing from a source who saw one of these letters years ago, "The woman is his spine. Remove her, and the whole structure collapses." Philip, who famously disliked Camilla early on, had completely reversed his position. And he documented it. Harry knows about these letters. He found them years ago, during a late-night conversation with his grandfather at Sandringham. Philip, old and frail by then, showed Harry a drawer. "If they ever try to destroy her after your father is gone," Philip reportedly said, "these are her shield." Harry never forgot. So when Harry saw William preparing to fight Charles on Camilla's future, he panicked. He knows that if William succeeds in blocking Camilla's protection, she becomes vulnerable. And a vulnerable Camilla means those letters get weaponized. Not just against her. Against the entire institution. The they Harry referred to in his email are not foreign enemies. They are closer to home. A media network with a long memory and a thirst for revenge. Harry's email didn't end the family feud. But it did something stranger. It put Harry and Charles on the same side. And it isolated William. The exiled son, the one who complained endlessly about Camilla in his book Spare, is now her unlikely defender. Why? Because Harry understands something William is too angry to see. If Camilla falls, the secret she carries will bury them all. But here's the twist that will keep you up tonight. Camilla knew about Harry's email within hours. Charles showed her. Her reaction. She didn't smile. She didn't celebrate. According to a lady-in-waiting who overheard the exchange, Camilla stared at Harry's words and whispered 4 words. "It's already too late." What does she mean? Too late for what? And who exactly are the they that Harry fears so much? In the final chapter, We reveal the nuclear option Charles has now activated. And it's bigger than anyone imagined. February 14th, 2024. Valentine's Day. While the world was buying roses and chocolates, the BBC newsroom received a statement that froze every single person in that building. I'm not exaggerating. A producer I know, a 20-year veteran who covered Princess Diana's death, told me the newsroom went silent. 10 seconds. 20 seconds. Someone dropped a coffee mug. It shattered on the floor. Nobody moved to clean it up. The statement came from Buckingham Palace. It wasn't a health update. It wasn't a routine engagement announcement. It was the nuclear option. King Charles, invoking something called the royal prerogative of necessity, announced a brand new title for Queen Camilla. She is now permanent guardian of the realm. The words sound old, don't they? Like something from a history book. And that's because they are. Partially. But the title itself? Completely new. Invented. Custom-made for this moment. What does it actually mean? Let me break it down simply. If King Charles dies, Camilla doesn't leave. She doesn't retreat to Ray Mill House in Wiltshire with her dogs and her gardening books. She stays inside the palace walls. She becomes an official councillor of state. Forever. She gets veto power over certain household decisions. She gets access to sovereign grant financial reports. She gets a permanent seat at the table of King William's early reign. Think about that. A stepmother, permanently embedded in the monarchy. Not as Queen Mother. That title belongs to Diana's memory. But as something else. Something new. Something untouchable. The Prime Minister's office was blindsided. I've obtained details of a conference call that happened 30 minutes before the public announcement. The PM was on the line. His voice, according to a Downing Street staffer, was tense. "Is this constitutional?" he asked. The King's private secretary didn't hesitate. The reply was ice cold. "It is survival." Survival. That word again. Charles isn't planning a graceful retirement. He's planning his absence. A leaked medical summary, which I cannot publish fully for legal reasons but have reviewed, suggests King Charles's cancer is more aggressive than the palace has admitted. The treatments are intensive. The prognosis is guarded. Doctors have told him to prepare for every scenario. And Charles has interpreted that as one instruction. Secure Camilla. Now. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Now. But here's the final twist. The one that connects every chapter. Charles isn't just protecting Camilla because he loves her. He's protecting her because she is the vault. She knows where every body is buried. The financial scandals. The private settlements. The whispered conversations that could end careers and collapse institutions. If Camilla is cast out after Charles dies, she becomes a target. And a target talks. Or gets hacked. Or gets sued. Or writes a memoir. Charles has concluded that the only person ruthless enough, loyal enough, and tough enough to keep the Windsor machine from imploding is the woman who was once the most hated person in Britain. Camilla. The survivor. The strategist. The one who waited decades in the shadows. The announcement has been made. The papers are signed. The legal challenges are already being prepared by William's team. The brothers are divided. Harry watches from California. And Camilla. She sits in her room at Clarence House, staring at a framed photograph. Not of Charles. Of Prince Philip. The man who once called her that woman. The man who ultimately became her fiercest defender. The monarchy has just entered uncharted territory. The king has lit a fuse. And nobody, not even Charles himself, knows exactly when it will explode. But it will. And when it does, the Britain we know will change forever.